Welcome back again, students. So, here's our report. Before we start, I would like to introduce our members. Medrano Karen, Ricafort Trixie, Ibanez Lay, Ramedillo Annalyn, Valentino Justin, Verikian Papelosa Angel, Yakit Christina, Singzon Hannah, Villanueva Eliza, and Ramos Genevieve. Here's our motivation for today. Believe in your purpose. You are preparing for one of the noblest professions. Teaching is not just a job, it's a calling to shape lives and inspire dreams. Here's our attendance. I would like you to know that all of my members are present today. Here's our energizer. Our topic for today is all about technology in curriculum delivery and pilot testing. Dito malalaman natin kung gaano kahalaga ang technology sa mga curriculum. Are you ready to learn? Top heart nga everyone. Okay, thank you so much. Here's our introduction. In the 21st century, educational landscape, technology has become a vital enabler of curriculum delivery. It allows for interactive, flexible, and learner-centered approaches. Additionally, before full-scale curriculum implementation, pilot testing, monitoring, and evaluation ensure that the curriculum is effective, relevant, and adaptable. Next reporter.
Ayan, so proceed naman po tayo sa factors for technology selection. So, sabi dito, when integrating technology into curriculum delivery, educators must consider the first is alignment with learning objectives. It says here that the technology must support the intended learning outcomes. So dapat yung i-integrate nating technology is align po kung ano yung objective ng lesson po ninyo. Hindi ka lang basta-basta gagamit ng mga technology tools for the sake of a modern world tayo today. So dapat gagamit tayo ng mga technology. So the question dapat is, yung tool ba na gagamitin nyo is makakatulong ba for the students na makuha yung goal ng lesson na yun? Yan. So, in short po na yung technology na gagamitin mo sa klase must match the learning objectives so students can clearly achieve what the teacher intended. Next is accessibility and inclusivity. So, it says here that it must be usable by all learners regardless of socioeconomic status or disability. So this means that yung tools na gagamitin natin, yung technology tools po, dapat ini-ensure natin na as educators po, whatever technology we choose can be used by everyone, regardless of their situation, mayaman man o hindi. For example, not all students may have fast internet connection or an expensive gadget. So some may also have disabilities like difficulty in hearing or vision. So, as educators po, we need to choose tools that are user-friendly, affordable, and inclusive. So, yung goal kasi sa letter B na to, accessible dapat lahat ng gagamitin nating tools sa klase. So, that nobody gets left behind just because of technology barriers. Next.
Easy of use, tools should be user-friendly for both teachers and students. Example ito yung digital learning tools like Google Classroom. We all know naman na easy to use and very naman yung Google Classroom sa teachers and students. Through Google Classroom, si teacher isasend na lang na yung mga activities, yung mga assignments through G-Class. And si students naman, hindi na siya pupunta na school para magpasa ng mga assignments. Through Google Classroom, doon na lang na isi-send ang mga assignment, and through this Google Classroom, nagkaka-engagement si teacher and students. And sa pang-example, yung Canva. Instead na gumamit tayo ng traditional na materials like yung mga Manila paper, we use Canva. Nandun na yung mga template, hindi na tayo mahihirapan mag-design. And then, cost and sustainability, affordability, and long-term maintenance should be considered. Ito, kailangan din natin i-consider, like yung affordability. Dito, di ba minsan may mga digital learning tools na kailangan muna ng bilhin, katulad yung template sa Canva, kailangan niyang bilhin para maging maganda yung mga template. So, kailangan natin i-consider na yung mga affordability, yung kaya lang natin, and then yung long-term and maintenance. Ito, kailangan din natin i-consider as pang matagalan, di ba? Kahit yung katulad yung sa mga traditional, pag nabasa, hindi mo na siya magagamit. Unlike sa Canva, yung PPT, andoon lang yun, hindi yun mawawala. And pwede mo rin din siya i-update para mas improvement yung mga templates. And then last yung sustainability. Tools are designed to be durable, energy efficient, and environmentally friendly, reducing your school carbon footprint and promoting sustainability. Di ba sinabi ko, yung traditional mga materials, like kung mga gagamit ka ng papel, unlike through Canva, maiiwasan natin paggamit ng mga papel, di ba? And then, next reporter is
call support or availability. This system uses technology to tailor the learning experience to individual students' needs, abilities, and learning pace. This system also adjusts the difficulty level, content, and pace of learning to match each student's unique needs, helping them to learn more. Lastly, security and privacy. This is data protection and ethical use must be prioritized. This education, accessible to anyone and anywhere at any time, is also enabling students to access educational resources, connect with instructors, and learn remotely, providing greater flexibility and that's it. Let's proceed to the next report.
So, good day everyone. Today, let's talk about the role of technology in curriculum delivery. Technology plays multiple roles in implementing the curriculum. Ibig sabihin, nakakatulong ito para mas maging madali, engaging at effective yung learning process. So, let's start with the first one. Facilitating access to content. Through e-learning platforms, open educational resources or OERs, and digital libraries, nagiging mas madali para sa mga student at teacher ang access sa learning materials kahit saan. Halimbawa, pwede tayong gumamit ng Google Classroom, YouTube, educational videos, o mga online textbooks. Di ba very convenient nun? Next, we have B, enhancing engagement. Dito naman pumapasok ang interactive multimedia, gamified learning, and simulation. Sa pamamagitan ng mga ito, mas nagiging interesting at exciting ang learning. For example, may mga educational games or virtual simulations kung saan natututo ka habang nag-e-enjoy. Technology doesn't replace teachers, but it helps us make learning more accessible, interactive, and fun. Next presenter.
So let's move to the letter C, promoting collaboration. So promoting collaboration, technology helps to promote collaboration among students in even teachers. So paano? Through online forms and then shared documents and then virtual work. So for example, sa Google Docs or Microsoft Teams, so pwede tayong sabay-sabay gumawa dun or mag-edit ng group project. So kahit nasa kanya-kanyang bahay lang tayo. And then sa D naman, supporting assessment. So supporting assessment, so technology also support assessment. So teachers can now use online quizzes, e-portfolios, and analytics para matrack niya yung mga learning process ng students. So for example, yung mga quizzes students is makikita niya kung sino yung mga naka-perfect and then yung mga kailangan pa ng review and then kung sino pa yung uulit. Next slide.
For letter E, personalizing learning, adaptive learning system that adjusts to the learner pace and needs. So dito sinasabi naman, ginagamit yung technology para ma-adjust yung lesson based sa bilis or pangangailangan ng bawat estudyante. Example dito yung kapag gumagamit ng apps tulad ng Khan Academy, so ina-adjust nito yung system ng lesson depende kung gaano kakagaling sa previous topic. In other example, kunyari sa level 1, may topic doon, hindi mo naintindihan. Siyempre, hindi ka pa pwede mag-proceed for level 2 for the next topic. For letter F, bridging distance. Distance education platforms allow access to education anywhere and anytime. So dito naman, nakakatulong yung technology na to para makapag-aral tayo kahit malayo o wala sa classroom. Ito yung ginagamit natin nung first year in pandemic days, no? Kagaya ng Google Meet or Zoom. Nakakapag-attend tayo ng online classes kahit yung students is malayo or nasa bahay lang.
So for pilot teaching, it is the process of trying out a new curriculum in a small, controlled group before large-scale implementation. Ibig sabihin, bago natin gamitin ang isang bagong curriculum sa lahat ng klase, itetest muna natin ito in a small group of students para makita kung effective ba or may kailangan pang i-adjust sa curriculum. So for example, nag-uumpisa ka pa lang mag-business. May small bake shop ka or kahit anong business, tapos balak mo maglabas ng bagong product. Pero ang gagawin mo is what? So, yes, balak mo maglabas ng bagong flavor ng cupcake. So, ang dapat mong gawin is mag-test bake muna bago mo ibenta yung product na nais mong ilabas. So, in simple term, yung pilot teaching is parang trial run or dry run. Next slide po. Now, its purpose is to identify the gaps and challenges. Dito, nalalaman kung ano yung parts ng curriculum na mahirap, confusing, or hindi practical. May lesson na masyadong mahaba, baka kailangan i-break down into shorter parts na kung saan mas madadalian yung students na intindihan yung isang topic dahil nga nakita na ng teacher yung pwedeng baguhin. So example, since maglalabas ka ng bagong product para sa iyong small bake shop, ano-ano yung mga challenges na pwede nating ma-encounter kapag beginner pa lang sa pagbe-bake? So, yung isa na dito is yung ingredients is masyadong mahal and mahirap din hanapin. So, di ba, dito pa lang sa part na to, nakikita na natin agad yung mga challenges. Kaya ang pwede natin gawin is mag-search for alternative or substitute nung ingredients na yon. Yan, another one is wala kang mixer. Ano yung pwedeng gamitin? Pwedeng wire whisk muna or tinidor, di ba? So, next slide po. Next is to gather teacher and students' feedback. Nakikita ng teacher kung manageable ba ang oras, yung resources, at strategies. While si students naman, nagbibigay naman sila ng insights kung interesting ba, madaling maintindihan, or masyadong mahirap yung lesson, yung content nito, or yung method mismo. So example natin is a bake shop, di ba? So after mo mag-test bake, ano yung mga gagawin mo? So, tama mong gawin is papatikim mo sa kapamilya mo, sa customer, kaibigan, or kahit kanino, or sa mismong target customer mo. Magpapa-pre-taste ka or papabayaran mo, basta nasa sa'yo kung paano mo sila mapapatikim. Then, once na natikman na nila, syempre, hihingin mo yung comments and suggestions nila na pwede mong i-apply to improve the products na balak mong ibenta. So, ganun sa pilot teaching. Then the last one is to assess feasibility and practicality. Dito, tinitignan kung realistic ba yung new curriculum, kung kaya ba ito i-apply sa actual classroom. Like for example, kung yung curriculum ay nangangailangan ng equipment like oven na wala sa school, so dapat i-adjust yung activity before full implementation. About sa practicality naman, sinusuri ito ng teachers if magastos ba or mahirap. So, sa madaling salita, yung pilot teaching is parang testing stage ng curriculum. It is important dahil pagkatapos ng pilot teaching, mas nagiging refined at effective ang curriculum bago ito ipatupad sa mas maraming klase o sa buong paaralan. Dahil after ng trial run, nakikita nito yung errors, gaps, o yung confusing parts sa lessons na pwedeng baguhin. Nakukuha yung honest reaction. Nakita din natin, di ba, kung paano mag-response yung teachers and students sa bagong curriculum. And kung kaya ba talaga ito i-apply sa actual classroom. Next po.
Okay, so for pilot teaching, first is select representative school or classes. So sabi daw dito, selecting a representative school or classes means choosing a few schools or sections that accurately reflect the characteristics of the larger population. This process ensures that the result of a pilot study or teaching program can be applied to other schools. The selected classes usually different in location size, performance level to provide the balanced and reliable result. Next is train teachers. Training teachers means providing educators with the knowledge or skills and strategies they need to effectively implement new programs, curricula, or teaching methods. This training helps teachers understand the goals of the innovation, how to use new materials or technologies, and how to access student learning. Through training, teachers become more confident and prepared to deliver quality instruction in the classroom. For the third is deliver lessons based on the new curriculum. Deliver lesson means implementing and teaching lessons following the goals, content, and strategies that outlined in the new developed curriculum. So teachers apply the updated methods, materials, and assessment to help students to achieve the intended learning outcomes. This process ensures that classroom instructions align with current educational standards and promotes the effective and modern learning experience. And for the number 4 is collect data on performance and engagement. So it means gathering information about how well students learn and how actively they participate during lesson. This can include test scores, assignment, attendance, class participation, and feedback from students. So the collected data help teachers and researchers evaluate whether the new teaching methods or curriculum are effective in identify areas that need to improve. For the last is revise curriculum as needed. So means that making changes or improvement to the curriculum based on the feedback, result, and classroom experience. This process ensures that lessons, activities, and assessment remain effective and relevant to students' needs. So revision may include updating content, adjusting teaching methods, or modifying learning goals to achieve a better educational outcomes.
For the next report is monitoring and evaluating curriculum implementation. Kapag sinabing monitoring is an ongoing process of checking whether the curriculum is implemented as planned, evaluation and systematic assessment of its effectiveness and impact. So therefore, kapag sinabing monitoring, nag-oversee tayo ng mga activities na ginagawa ng mga estudyante or mga teachers. And then for the letter A, monitoring activities. Una dito, yung classroom observation, kagaya na sa mga ginagawa kapag may mga demo teaching o kaya may mga general cleaning, ino-observe nila kung ano yung status ng buong classroom. And then for the number 2, teacher lesson plan reviews. Dito naman, tinitingnan kung ano yung mga kailangan pang ayusin for the lesson plan itself na ginagawa ng mga teacher. Kailangan din ng magandang plano para mas mapalinis yung mga bagay na kailangan pang ayusin for the lesson plan. And then for the next naman is yung student work analysis. Dito naman papasok yung mga activities kagaya ng mga group activities na ginagawa within the classroom. Titignan dito kung minomonitor dito kung nagkakaroon ba ng progress yung mga ginagawa nila. That's all.
So for evaluation methods naman, ito naman yung systematic way to check if a curriculum is achieving sa mga student and teacher its intended goals and meeting the needs of student. So number 1, yung survey and interviews. Ito naman, it involves in collecting data through questionnaire, while interview are instructed or unstructured conversation to gather in-depth information. So yung purpose ng survey and interview is to collect the perception and opinions from the student and teachers. Also, pwede rin to sa parents and administrator regarding sa curriculum strength and weaknesses ng student and the areas for improvement. So sa standardized testing naman, ito naman yung tests that are assessed and administered and score is a consistent, predetermined manner. So yung purpose naman nito is to measure student performance against a common standard and provide objective data on learning outcome. So the last one naman is data analysis of learning outcome. Ito naman yung involves in collecting, organizing, and interpreting data related to student to achieve their learning. So, ang purpose naman nito is to assess the extent to which the curriculum is achieving its intended learning outcome, and also to identify the areas for improvement of students.
Key important. First, the ensure curriculum relevance. Using technology helps keep the curriculum updated and aligned with the current trends, job requirements, and learning's real-world experience. For technology, allow the students and teachers on this curriculum develop, integrate modern books, such as online learning platforms, digital stimulation, and multimedia content. For example, AI books, digital literacy modules, using Google Classroom or Learning Management System or LMS for make lesson more interactive and updated. For number 2, provides accountability. Technology provides a transparent way to track performance and outcomes and progress both students and teachers. Through online system, data about the student attendance, assessment, and engagement can be easily recorded and analyzed. For example, teacher using digital grade books or analyze the dashboard to monitor the students' performance. For number 3, improvements. Guides and improvements. Technology provided data-driven insight that help refine and improve the curriculum based on actual results and feedback. During pilot testing, technology developers could collect data and feedback efficiently. For example, using online surveys or feedback forms to collect student and teacher feedback during pilot testing and analyzing to see which the topics student engaged and struggling with the adjustment the curriculum accordingly.
Okay, that's all guys. And We're done for our report. And ang activity po natin, send na lang po namin sa GC and ipapasa po natin siya sa Google Classroom po. Gagawa po kami ng link. Ayan po. Thank you so much, guys.